All right, people, what's good? It's your girl Peek out here in Singapore, and it is Sunday night. I finally finished Baby Girl's hair. It took me forever, but gotta do what I gotta do. Yeah. So this morning, I dropped a video in my IGTV and my feed in Instagram, and I was a little worried, mostly because this is a part of my life that I really haven't opened up and spoken about. And I figured that it was really important because people don't talk about what makes you stop doing things. People don't talk about, when you realize that you were getting in your own way, or you were standing in the middle of something where you had a choice where you could walk out, whatever, right? And some people will make it seem like it's slight, it's not a big deal, but for me it was big. So I wanted to share my opinion on suicide, my experience with it, what exactly I went through. And while I didn't give you a ton of details because I only had 10 minutes, I did want to make sure that y'all understood that this is my point of view. This is something I lived through. This is the reason I decided that suicide was not the best option for me, because I know plenty of people who have been hurt, who have been so lost and so lonely that they didn't see a way out. And unfortunately, some of them followed through so well to the point that they are no longer with us. And I don't want that to happen to anybody. I would rather see you guys fight it a little bit. I would rather see you guys find something to live for, find some reason to say, nope, you know what, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna give it a shot and try and do the best that I can. So, whoops, I forgot to turn off mine. See? Okay, turn off the notifications real quick. But basically, what I wanted to make sure y'all understood was the fact that everyone's story is different. What you're going through is big to you. What I'm going through is big to me, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if I open my mouth and tell you what I'm going through and it looks small to you. It doesn't matter. It's big to me. Maybe this is the worst I've ever lived through. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that that was clear to everybody. The other thing is, the reason I said this out loud, the reason I came out and said, hey, you know what? I was selfish. I wanted the perfect life. And it wasn't perfect because the people around me weren't perfect, and I thought that I could just kill myself and get it over with. But the point being that if I failed, it would be less than perfect. It would be worse than it is right now. I could really suffer, and that would be my fault then, you know? Um, so once I got that out, once that video came out, I was thinking about it a little bit further, and something that Maston Kipp came to mind. Something that Maston Kipp said came to mind. I think I missed a. See, I'm losing it, y'all. Okay, I missed a word in there. Maston Kipp said something during the Get Ideal Clients masterclass that really hit me, and he said, people like to talk about their past, right? People like to explain what happened, give you a better understanding of who they are, and some people, once they explain it one time, they're good. That's it. It's like letting you know why they do the things that they do because they suddenly understand it. And then there are those people that explain it every time they make a bad decision. And then it becomes, this is why I do this, though. Rather than, this is why I used to do this. Now I understand better and I'm moving forward. It becomes, this is why I do this now. This is why I make bad decisions in men, because I have daddy issues. This is why I continually, go back to eating, because it's how I deal with my feelings. So I wanted to make sure that there was a difference between understanding and justifying. I had a conversation with an old high school friend of mine, and because he saw the video when I dropped it, he was like, well, wait, when were you suicidal? Because I didn't know you were suicidal. And I was like, well, actually, it was in high school when I knew you. And I explained, the various situations that I felt were big to me, and the reason that I thought that I had no choice but to kind of just give it all up. And he was like, wow, I had no idea. And I was grateful that I was able to tell him, like years after the fact, obviously. But it's almost like I wondered if he expected me to continue making bad decisions because this is what I've been through. No, I know better now. I learned, I reflected, I looked at the whole situation in its entirety, and I realized that some things I had a responsibility to respond to, and some things I didn't need to respond to. I could just let it go. I could let it wash over me. But that took years and years of figuring it out for myself. I unfortunately had the opportunity to speak to my guidance counselor in high school. I had the opportunity to speak to people while I was growing up. I had the opportunity when I went to college to meet with a couple of different therapists, and everyone said I was very self-aware and I was able to see my way around a situation. I could explain everyone's point of view. I really didn't need therapy. But it took me a while to process it myself, which I understood that was something I needed to do for myself. But that's what I really wanted to make sure that people understand. There is a difference between when you explain it so the other person has an understanding of where you're coming from, and there's a difference between using that explanation as the reasons for why you continually do the same thing over and over again. I am not condoning any of this behavior. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I know that people deal the best way they know how until they know better. And sometimes, even when they know better, they still continue to do what they know because it's comfortable, right? Suicide is not to be taken lightly, y'all. And I know there are some people out there that will threaten suicide just to get their way. I did that for a little while. And some people who are really serious about it and are willing to just disappear because they don't see a way out for themselves. I went through that too. So this is very serious business. This is a very big deal. And I want to make sure that people have a place to be able to speak. They find that they understand that the more they talk about what bothers them, the more other people can actually understand. And I know it's scary. I know it's terrifying because you never know how people are going to react to what you think is bad or what you think is terrible, what you think is just so painful and lonely. I don't know if people are going to yell at me or tell me off because I'm making fun of something in their opinion. I'm not. I'm telling you right now, I'm not. Loss of life terrifies me. I have lost a lot of people, okay, in my life, and I don't want to lose anybody else. And if I can just help a couple people feel like they've been heard, that's all I really want. I want you to know that you are heard. You exist because you matter. We see you. That's all I want. And that's why I behave the way that I do. I like making eye contact. I like smiling at people. I like saying good morning in an elevator full of people. I have no idea who they are. I like shocking people that way. I think it's funny. But it's also nice because you can tell the people who really appreciate it. And you can tell the people who are like, oh my God, what do you want? But I'm going to do it anyway, see? Because I was that person. I was that wallflower. I was that person who would purposely go quiet and disappear from a room just to see who would follow me, just to see who noticed. And then get mad because I was so good at it because no one noticed. Yeah, that was me too. And I joke about it now, but that was me too. I want for there to be this understanding, this no questions about it. I know it's there. I can feel it kind of understanding in the world where people know that if they're upset, they can say something about it and not be judged for saying something about it. I want to live in a world where I could tell my mom, hey, I don't feel good about this, and she won't get offended, but she will understand, and then we can work towards a solution. I want a world where if I ever get married again, I can do the same with my spouse. I can do it with my brother. I can do it with my daughter. I can do it with everybody. And that's the reason I do this work, because I want people to be able to speak their mind in such a way that the next person understands you're giving them constructive feedback. They want to be able to work towards a solution together. They don't get offended instead. When I say I don't like this, I'm not saying I don't like you. I'm saying I don't like this. And I need for you to understand that so that we can figure out how you don't do that anymore and we can get to a better place. That gentleman that I spoke to this afternoon, my friend from high school, we had that conversation. And I was afraid, but I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to say it. And if he's a good friend, like I know he is, he's going to be like, all right, cool, what do I do next? Or if he's not, and maybe I hit a nerve and I hurt his feelings or something, maybe he'll walk away. But the point is, if I don't say it, then we don't get that chance. I don't want you to be afraid of saying things for fear that somebody will judge you. Guaranteed somebody in the world is going to judge you. I judge myself. I would guarantee you judge yourself too. But I would love it if you would loosen up a little bit enough to be able to say, hey, you know what? I don't feel good about this situation. Or I noticed this and it hurt my feelings. Say it. Just say it. Because once you say it, you don't get to replay that same situation over and over in your head anymore. You give someone else a chance to correct it or help you find a way through it. And that's what I want. We are not alone. Billions of us on this planet, we're not alone. But it feels that way sometimes when we're stuck in our heads. So, I was afraid and nervous about dropping that video today, but I'm glad I did it. I didn't get a lot of responses yet, but it's still early and that's cool. But I really hope it reached whoever it needed to reach. I really hope you don't feel badly for wanting to have the life that you have. I want you to enjoy all of it. Don't take any of it for granted. Do the best you can. And if you need help, speak up. That's it. That's all I want you to do is speak up. I want you to understand that whatever you've been through, you went through it for a reason, and you survived it for a reason. And I would like to think that the fact that you survived means that there is another case study out there that can be used to help another person get through it too. While I didn't get a chance to speak to people that were able to help me and make me feel good about what I was doing and coming out of the situations that I lived through by myself, I did use movies. I did read books, and that helped me. So whatever your stick is, whatever platform you use, whatever kind of media, whether it's print, whether it's published, whether it's video, whatever, TikTok, I don't care. I want you to know that you're not alone. We're all suffering. We all feel like we're having a tough time. And all the situations are so different, but it's so big to us. And understanding that, it'll help you through, I promise. All right, you guys, I'm going to call it a night, but I really, really hope that this helped a little bit. I hope you have a chance to go back and check out my video. It's on Instagram, and it's on this page as well. It's actually right before this podcast episode. But leave a comment, please. Let me know what you think. And, yeah, being selfish saved my life. And I hope you learn to be selfish with your life a little bit, too. I love you guys. I'll catch you soon.